In Genesis chapter 2, we learned how God created Adam. We saw how God made the Garden of Eden and put Adam in it, and how he gave Adam one rule: not to eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God also warned Adam, "For in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die."
God made Eve to be Adam's pair. Eve knew God's rule too. God's rule was for Adam and Eve's good. Everything God had done was for their good.
In the first part of Genesis chapter 3, we learned how the devil came into the Garden of Eden disguised as a snake and tried to get Eve to disobey God and eat the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The devil made it sound as though something good would happen if Eve ate the fruit, but this was a big lie. Eve ate some of the fruit. She also gave the fruit to Adam, and he ate the fruit too. Instead of believing God, who never lies, Eve believed the devil, who is a liar and the father of lies. Instead of listening to God, who is never wrong, Adam listened to Eve, who was wrong. Because Adam and Eve disobeyed, they died spiritually. It was still their job to obey God, but they were not able to obey Him anymore. Now they could only disobey Him. This brings us to the second part of Genesis chapter 3. After Adam and Eve ate the fruit, God came into the garden. Adam and Eve tried to hide from God, but no one can hide from God.
God asked Adam, "Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you that you should not eat?" Genesis 3:11. He asked Eve, "What is this you have done?" Genesis 3:13. Adam and Eve told God the truth that they had eaten the fruit. But then Adam blamed Eve for giving him the fruit and blamed God for giving Eve to him. And Eve blamed the devil for tricking her.
God cursed the snake. Next, God gave punishments to Eve and then to Adam. Then God made clothing from animal skins for Adam and Eve to wear. And finally, He sent Adam and Eve out of the garden so they would not eat from the tree of life and live forever.
This was such a sad day for Adam and Eve, and all because they disobeyed God. But because God is very, very good, not everything was sad on this day. In our last video, we told you that on this day, God gave a promise of hope to Adam and Eve, a promise that is also for us today. We find this promise in Genesis 3:15. It is part of God's curse for the snake. God said, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." This meant that one day someone would come who would destroy the devil's power. God did not tell Adam and Eve who that someone would be or when he would come. But we know who he is because God tells us all about him in the Bible. His name is Jesus, and in our next video, we plan to tell you about him.